Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Explore the Force. We're excited to be with you for another week. With me, as always, Taylor. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey guys.
And we subbed out one Brit for another. We got Johnny O today as a special host. How you doing, Johnny?
Hello there. Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. Good to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on. Everyone, Jack is finally getting to go home after, like 6 weeks? 5 weeks? 6 weeks? Being
Feels like a
overseas,
long
it has
time.
been a very long time. I'm sure he's excited. I'm sure his family's excited. We know we're excited for him to get back to good internet. So it'll be it'll be good. It'll be good for him to get home and see his family. But anyway, safe travels, Jack, and we'll talk to you soon. Um, but so how's everyone's week been? Johnny, how's your week been? You said you had the week off.
Yes, I had the week off work. I had a lot of holiday time left to use up and just felt like I needed a week off. It was a fun week. I just, yeah, entertained
Very
myself for the
cool.
week.
There you go. Taylor, what about you, Taylor? How was your week?
It's been good. It's been really, really stormy over here. Just like insane dark purple, dark gray clouds and windstorm, leaves everywhere, branches all over the road. And yeah, the zoo lost power, but thank goodness we have generators. That's one
Yeah.
thing Jurassic Park did not have was generators.
that's
You got
that's
to
all
use your
the
brain. Tropical windstorms. So it's
they
been an
spent all their
interesting
money.
week. Yeah,
Oh
on
dang, yeah.
dinosaurs.
On the dinosaurs. So yeah. I'd say it's been a good week for myself. This is the one week all school year that I have off with no responsibilities.
Ooh.
And that ends tomorrow at 4:40 a.m. when the boys' swim season kicks off.
Oh,
so,
lovely.
yeah, so I'm going to be I might be tired and grumpy moving forward. So just bear with me. But now it's a good week, and I'm excited to talk some Star Wars with you guys and
Yes.
dive into our Force encounters. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. We have some new artwork that I don't think I've told Taylor or Jack about this yet, and I'm pretty sure Johnny wouldn't know, but we have some new artwork coming out. My cousin Megan and her, I'm trying to look this up. I had it pulled up and my phone locked me out. Hang on a second.
Awkward.
Laughing Fox Art, and she
Mm.
reached out and she did some designs for us. We're going to most likely use it for our high council stuff, but I just want to say thank you, Megan, for that.
Yay!
And we'll post it up on Facebook and our social medias here probably tomorrow. Get that stuff rolling out. But again, Megan, Laughing Fox Art. So thanks, Megan, for helping out with, it's good to have family involved. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks, girl.
Taylor, did you have any exciting force
Force.
encounters?
Where are we? My force encounter this week was just reading the criff out of every single High Republic comic and book that I can because there's like 2 days until the High Republic Phase 3 comes out, and as you guys know, I'm like still a little bit behind, so I have like 2 books away from from finishing.
Oh, dang, you got a
So
lot of reading to do, girl.
I know. And then I'm like
So,
telling my husband, like, this just happened and oh the fall and blah, and he's like, Taylor, just isn't this why you have a podcast? Like, yes.
yes, it is.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so
Uh,
High Republic, crazy week.
Very good. That's a good week. By the time
It
everyone
is a good
hears
week.
this, it will be the start of Phase 3. That will be
Oh
Tuesday,
yeah.
the official kickoff.
Ugh.
Johnny, do you have any exciting force encounters on your week off?
I did. On
Ooh.
Tuesday evening, I went to a gig in London with several people you guys both know. Uh,
Ooh.
um, by a band called Galactic Empire, who are American. Basically, they play covers of Star Wars soundtrack music, but metal,
That
Oh,
and they wear
is
costumes and
amazing.
stuff. And it was a great evening. It
Oh.
sounds crazy. It was crazy, but awesome at the same time.
were a lot
And
of
then
people Well, the people dressed up too, or is just the band?
Not too much. A lot of people with Star Wars shirts, as you can imagine. There was
Yeah.
somebody that had their face painted as Darth Maul. Somebody had a lightsaber with them, and who was the other guy? Oh, another guy had a Mandalorian helmet on.
Oh, very cool.
In the crowd.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome!
It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And that's an American band?
Yeah, they're
Wow.
American.
Check them out.
They've been touring the States, I gather, and now they've come over to Europe for a few weeks. And then
I say heavy metal's not really my
so
thing.
if you ever get a
but
chance to see them, I recommend it because it's
Yeah.
great. I'm not especially a metal fan, but I loved it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
But it's all
that's
tunes
awesome.
that we like know, right?
Yes,
It's like,
exactly. You know every song.
yeah!
There's no lyrics, although the crowd managed to sing along to every song. Just kind of,
Wow.
Singing
along
along.
to the tune. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my
Man,
gosh. That's
that sounds
amazing.
yeah, very cool, very cool. That sounds like a blast. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for them, see if they ever come into Wichita or Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds like we all had some pretty good Force encounters this week. And let's go ahead and head off to Batuu and see what the latest news is. All right, so we've got lots of news coming out of Batuu today, or this weekend. First one, Louis Leterrier reveals he pitched 2 Star Wars ideas to Lucasfilm. He's director of Now You See Me and Fast X filmmaker, was recently a guest on Josh Horowitz's latest podcast, Watch Along, where the two of them did a live commentary on The Incredible Hulk, which Leterrier directed. Horowitz raised the topic of Star Wars to the director, asking if he'd ever be interested in working for Lucasfilm, and got a surprising answer. I had my dream Star Wars idea a long time ago when I came to them and pitched it. We should do a Star Wars TV show conceived as a lone wolf and cub. And they said, we don't know if that's a great idea. There were 2 things I wanted to do with the missing part between. Basically, before A New Hope, when Obi-Wan takes Luke, I wanted to do that. But I also was very interested in a Boba Fett movie. So there's that. I don't know. We've talked about this off air, and I think all of us had to kind of look this guy up, right? So are we sad or are we happy that he's not getting his Star Wars projects? Would you want those projects? Would you want, Boba Fett, but we got the TV show and then we got Obi-Wan.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see where he took Boba Fett, because Boba Fett went such a direction that we didn't expect, like
Definitely.
I didn't exactly expect Boba Fett to want to be ruling with I want to rule with respect, and like all these flashbacks and stuff. So that would have been interesting. And the Lone Wolf, Mandalorian is pretty good. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
What about you, Johnny? What do you think?
People do.
Yeah.
I'm not too bothered. Like you said, we had to look him up, and I looked through his credits and stuff, and the films he'd worked on, none of them were the kind of films that I'm particularly bothered by. The only thing that took my eye was the fact that he directed all of the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance show, which I loved, and I had no idea he'd done that. So that's good, but Lone Wolf and Cub, like you said, we've had it as Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
you could almost are you trying to say
you had that idea first?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
And who knows what he means by the missing part before New Hope when Obi-Wan takes Luke. It's very vague, isn't
curious. Yeah, so, I think so. Yeah. I think you're right. You might be fishing for, hey, look at me, but who knows? What do you got for us, Taylor?
The writer Timothy Zahn, famous in the Star Wars world for creating the much-beloved character Thrawn, recently spoke out about his views on how his original character was used in the Ahsoka show at the Twin Cities Con. After reiterating past comments in regards to how well Dave Filoni knows the character, Zahn briefly explained his view on why Thrawn seeks to bring his version of the Empire back with him from Peridea. In summary, Zahn said everything flows from his motivation to help the Chiss ascendancy. He believes the New Republic won't be able to support that goal, so bringing the Empire back is the only way. That's totally his way of things, right? Like he will do anything for his people, right? And he's super smart. And I would like to see his version of the Empire. That might be a little bit more capable, less brutal. I don't know.
I mean, the Chiss, if you've read the books, they're not the nicest human beings to, or sentient beings to one another, but
Yeah.
they seem to have a stable structure and everything. I don't know, might not be a bad idea.
They're
Let them take over
intelligent. They're
because,
very intelligent.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what do you think, Johnny?
Well, I know a number of people who find like the difference between Thrawn, between the new canon books and what we see on screen in Rebels and in Ahsoka, and feel that there's a bit of a disparity there. So I guess this is kind of Timothy's arm trying to smooth that a little bit, but I don't know as it necessarily makes sense to me, because it's like you said, for me, his motivation to he doesn't believe the New Republic will be able to support that goal. Well, how does he know that? He's been stuck in another galaxy. So
they already
is he
have
just
kind
taking?
of
Is he just
screwing
taking
you
the
up.
word of Morgan Elsbeth and like the Imperial Remnant? And surely he's too smart to just think, well, I'm just going to take one person's opinion or one side's opinion. I haven't seen it for myself,
Right.
but
Like, what
maybe he
backs
can
up
make that
this
decision once he
opinion?
comes back. I don't know, So I personally, because I've been reading through the Thrawn books, I hadn't read the Ascendancy trilogy, so I'm just starting that. The difference doesn't bother me overly much between the two. I think it can still be, made to work and stuff like that. So yeah,
I do feel there's a slight difference, and I think I brought it up when we were doing our Ahsoka recaps and stuff, that sometimes that Thrawn doesn't feel like the Thrawn from the. And I'm not even talking about the old canon, the old legend stuff. I'm talking about the canon that I've read. Now, I did kind of bog out on those Ascendancy ones. I just kind of lost focus on them a little bit, but there seems to be a little bit of character discrepancies. But like you said, not enough to really to matter. I don't know. They'll make it work, and that's good that he's playing ball with the rest of Lucasfilm. That's good job security for him. So then we have a couple. We'll obviously report on some of this stuff later on too. But as everyone should know by this point, the SAG after strike is over. So
Woo!
yes, and so I don't know about you guys, but like social media has been fun to see all the I actually kind of expected more, but I love what we've been
Yeah.
getting. I know Taylor, you posted on our socials and our Facebook, things like that, a bunch of photos, like behind the scenes stuff with
Yeah.
all
All
the
the actors'
actors and
selfies and
actresses.
stuff.
Yeah. And then there was one, man, I kind of pulled on the old heartstrings. It was a picture or a video of Ray Stevenson like rocking out to some music and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, that's a
Really?
so yeah. So I'm kind of
Oh.
curious as how this is going to start to unfold. We're getting into the holiday season. Are they going to still ramp things up? But that's exciting. Good for the actors. Good for the writers. I will warn you though that some of the articles I've read next year, the Teamsters, like all the people who make the sets, work on the sets, they're all up for a contract renewal. So we could be looking at another one next summer. But maybe the studios have learned, and they'll start working on that now.
Yeah.
But
Start it
and
preventing.
then they can just come and make all the shows in the UK while that's sorted out.
yes,
It'll be
just
fine.
go over to Pinewood.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pinewood Studios. I mean, and everywhere else they film over there. So yeah, I mean, I guess that would kind of put the U.S. at a disadvantage if they don't make deals, because I mean, the UK and those don't have the same issues. Next, Kevin Feige Star Wars movie is not happening, and that was all we got. There was no why or what or who or when. It just isn't happening anymore. So, how do we feel about no Kevin Feige Star Wars film?
Okay, so what
Meh.
like did we have an idea of like what his story was going to be? Anything like that?
Nope.
Nope.
There
No.
was a writer attached, which I think was the same writer as Loki, right? Michael Waldron.
I think so.
Or he was attached
Oh.
at some point, but I don't know if he still was, or if, yeah. That's about the only thing
You
I
think
knew about it.
Yeah, I don't think they've really ever said much. It just announced it was going to happen during that. Kathleen Kennedy just just says
Going
things out
for it.
loud. I think sometimes I think she might forget who she is, and that everyone hangs on every word she says.
Yeah.
She always it's just kind of a. I'm not one of those Kathleen Kennedy haters, but I think that
No.
she needs to watch what she says. I think because she's done this a lot since she's taken over. But do you think this has anything to do with the mess that Marvel's in right now with Kang, the actor? Was it Jonathan Majors or whatever? Like maybe they're just trying to focus on how they're going to fix the Marvel and the MCU possibly.
Mm.
But I don't know.
I don't know. I
I
think with the new films that they announced at Celebration just gone, and also everything that they've got going on with the Mandoverse, they just maybe figured he just got pushed to the wayside, and then he probably got busy or whatever. And
Yeah,
you
quite
know
possibly. I
mm.
mean, we'll
things
never
like
know. I
that.
wish they would just tell us, like, "Hey, we got a lot going on, so we're just going to move on to this." Or, I mean, it wouldn't kill them to
Yeah.
tell us,
Yeah,
but and then finally, this is shocking news for me. Star Wars Hunters video game is pushed back to 2024, and I know Johnny and I were discussing this. I'm pretty sure I got the poster from Chicago, but maybe it was Anaheim. But that was this game keeps getting pushed. It's out for the Switch. It's an arena battle style game. And it was
Oh
supposed to
yeah.
eventually come out for the mobile, for your phones, which I was kind of excited about because I don't own a Switch. But it's again been pushed, which I'm not. I was actually just asking somebody about that, and here we go. I found out it's not
That's the one
happening,
where it
or it's
was
getting
just like a
pushed.
battle arena thing, right?
Yeah.
It was like
Mm-hmm.
battle arena, and they had all these cool characters.
Yeah, like a
with like
robot
two
that wants to
Jawas
be a
stacked on top
Jedi.
of each other.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
two
say the
Jawas.
UT team or whatever the U team.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fun and entertaining, and way to like pass some time whenever you're going to work or some downtime. But I, I'm shocked that they're still even pushing this game, is the fact that it's been delayed so much. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm almost like it's fallen off the map for me. Like I got all
Mm-hmm.
excited about it back when I remember like seeing all the stuff from it at Celebration because they really were pushing a whole bunch of the graphics and stuff for it and the art
Yeah.
of the creators and stuff. So I was like, ooh, like a new game coming out, but like I haven't heard anything about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh
No
yeah,
clue.
that game.
So
Hmm.
Yeah, Minecraft Star Wars Path of the Jedi DLC is now available. It says grab your lightsaber for a new Minecraft Star Wars adventure.
I have
I've never
never
played
played
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
I've
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
never
know.
If
played
you're
it
a
either,
Minecraft fan and
but
a Star Wars fan, I guess it's great news. But
yeah,
Yeah.
I was watching the little
build some Star
like
Warsy
trailer
stuff.
for it. It looked pretty entertaining. Like it was like, whoa,
Okay.
like this is really Star Warsy. Like I don't know how it would work. Like do other characters just walk into your like storyline and they're not Star Wars? Like
I've
someone's gonna have
I've
to tell
never.
us about this game. So
Yes. We'll bring on a 12-year-old son. Well, maybe Hank. Maybe Hank will know.
we'll make Hank play. Yeah, we're just that generation that just missed Minecraft.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. So, but
We try. Maybe Jack has played it.
maybe he does like the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. There you go. Next up, the BBC News is reporting that C3PO actor Anthony Daniels, my boy, is parting ways with his items from his Star Wars collection. The 77-year-old beloved actor is putting props, costumes, and scripts up for auction. Is he allowed to put scripts up? Ooh.
Well, they're for
The
older.
Yeah,
Like
probably
this
that
one's
old
like,
stuff.
yeah.
Right. The most notable item that's up now has been sold in an original helmet is an original helmet C3PO used on set the original Star Wars. It sold for just under £700,000. Other items put up for auction include personal scripts Daniel used for dubbing the Empire Strikes Back. Ooh. Pieces of the Millennium Falcon taken after the film of Return of the Jedi, and other parts of C3PO's costume. Well, we all know that his first like headpiece was like literally screwed on to him and he couldn't see out of it. So looking at that thing in his house or his collection probably was like a nightmare. Um,
Little PTSD.
and second, when I was getting his signature last year at Fan Expo in Vancouver, his wife was sitting right beside him, and my husband starts chatting up with his wife, and like I'm obviously talking to Anthony Daniels, and he pulls out my bookmark, and it's a little C-3PO bookmark thing. He's like, "Oh, I don't have this yet," or something, and he was telling me about how he has this massive collection of C-3PO stuff. And it's not even that he buys it. People just buy the stuff for him and they send it to him or they gift it to him. And his wife was like, I can't wait until we start selling it this like next year. So my husband and her are talking about how they can't wait to start selling off his massive collection of stuff. And he was like, yeah, I guess I'm over it now. Like, I don't need to collect it anymore. And it's just crazy how it's like finally, we're seeing it on the news. And I was just chatting with him about it like last year about how
That's
they
pretty
were like
awesome.
ready. Yeah, so
That's
cool.
very cool.
But
Yes,
now
that
he's
is
got
very
his
cool.
retirement fund coming. So
yeah.
if he didn't already
So-
have it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's doing fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the last news item is congratulations to Star Wars Jedi Survivor composers Stephen Barton and Gordy Harb on their Grammy nomination for Best Score for Video Game.
Well, that's very cool. I love the music in that.
Yeah,
I've heard some of
Well,
it, but like I
yeah,
haven't
I've heard
played
some
it.
of
I
that. Yeah.
still haven't played it. So I'm dying.
yeah, the music's good. You guys should. Is it on? Can you get it on Spotify? Like, can you download it,
Yeah,
or can you
Probably
just?
the
I think so.
album's
Yeah,
probably out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, I'll have to listen
Cool.
to it. But it's like part of the what makes the Jedi like Fallen Order music so good to me is that I can like think what planet I'm on because I'm like
Oh
listening to the
yeah.
different music, right? Like the Kashyyyk music is so different from just everywhere. So, but I love it because I've played it through it too. So, I mean, one day eventually I'll play Jedi Survivor.
yeah.
I'll get to
Likewise.
So,
it.
no, yeah. Well, it is good. I will tell you, it does help the game. But yeah, it looks like again a lot of news, and I do feel like it's going to pick up now that because we haven't even been a full week yet since the actor
Yeah.
strike has been over. So I do think things are going to start to ramp up. I'm excited for some release dates and things like that. But that is it coming out of Batuu for this week. All right. Well, now it's time for us to explore the Force, and as we mentioned in our news segment, the official kickoff to the High Republic Phase 3 starts on Tuesday, so the day that the podcast comes out. Now, there has
Today.
been some sprinkling. Yeah, today, I guess, for everybody listening or watching. There has been some sprinklings. We got a Shadows of Starlight comic. We have two comics came out this previous week. The first, High Republic, and then the second one, the Starlight Beacon. And then, of course, what the main topic for us for today is going to be Tales of Light and Life, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of stories, if you will, from characters from Phase 1, Phase 2, and it introduces some new people from Phase 3 that we haven't even heard of yet. So we're going to
Yeah.
dive into that. Kind of excited. And so, first off, I guess, Johnny, what were your thoughts on this book?
Overall, I enjoyed it. I think it gets, especially for the Phase 1 characters that we've been away from for a little while, just kind of reintroduces us to them and lets you know where they are and what they're up to in the immediate aftermath, pretty much, of what was the last book called? Fallen Star.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Obviously, they're always, anthologies are always a little bit of a mix of what you're going to get. But I thought overall this one was a pretty strong one.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Taylor? How'd you feel about it?
I really like this book. There's so many little stories in it, and some of them are shorter and some of them are longer because I took notes on all of them. And some of the stories are like 3 pages of notes, and then some of the stories I can literally fit all 3 stories on 1 page of notes. So it depends on the story, but I'm really liking it because it just gets right back into those like characters that we've already been reading about, and the same authors that are writing about their characters, and they're just getting in their final things of what they wanted to say but couldn't before, and it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would basically what you guys both said. I wasn't aware of how much I missed some of the Phase One characters. Like, I kind of got
Mm.
wrapped up in the Phase Two. All the writing I thought was really well, and I know we've talked about that on a show previous with Johnny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was surprised by how much I kind of missed some of these characters, some more than others. But yeah, I enjoyed it. A lot of times, some of these when you get books like this, sometimes there's like story here or there. I mean, there's not everything was here was, Pulitzer Prize winning material, but
Hmm.
overall, I enjoyed all the stories. There wasn't anything I was like, well, I could have done without this. I did really enjoy it. Um, do you guys like these books? Because we have a couple. I mean, they started out with was it from a certain point of view series, right? Is that the
Mhm.
that's the books from, and they've done all three of the first stories, I believe, of the. I'm sorry,
The
the
original
original
films,
trilogy.
yeah.
Have you read those,
Yeah.
Johnny? Johnny's kind of our resident. One of
No.
the reasons we brought him on here. You have not read those?
As we
Okay,
should.
I
No.
wasn't sure.
I
So,
know, like with the most recent one, Return of the Jedi, some of those stories in those books go pretty weird. I don't know if they're considered
yeah.
canon or not, to be perfectly honest. I have read, what was it, Tales from Jabba's Palace, which was a similar thing, but from like the old EU,
Mm,
which are all short stories, all different characters that you see in Jabba's Palace from in Return of the Jedi, and that was a real mixed
okay.
bag as well. Some I loved, some I didn't. I thought this was more consistent generally in quality, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor, have you ever read any of those other ones, the certain point of view books?
A friend of mine sent me one of the stories from, I think it was the Return of the Jedi one, and it was a good story, but you can tell that these writers haven't been writing about these characters already, right? Like that's kind of the difference that we're getting with this Tales of
That's a
Life
good
and Light
point.
book, because all of these writers have created these characters from like start to finish, pretty much more or less. Um, Whereas the other books, I feel like probably wouldn't be as much connection, like heart in them, because that's not their characters. I mean, I don't know, because there could be some um, that were created by those writers, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really excellent point. I've read a couple of them from the very first one. I know I read the story about R4, um, R5, R4, R5. Why am I drawing a blank? Uh, it was
R5
up
is
here. Wait a minute.
the
R5. My goodness. Yeah. So his story, about how he chose to do what he did in like A New Hope. That's what those stories are. Kind of like these little weird things that happen. When he blows his motivator or whatever. But
he did that
yeah.
on
So
purpose.
yes, because R2
What?
talked to him while they were on the sandcrawler. R2 talked to him and explained to him he had a mission he had to go on, and so R4 blows his motivator to help R2 with his mission.
Oh my
That's
god,
the kind
that's
of stuff that's in the
awesome.
book. So yeah, but yeah, I kind of got lost in a couple. There was one about a Jawa. I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. Um, but so I typically don't like them when they're just bits and pieces of little things. But that one was kind of fun. But
Yeah.
like I said, I really did enjoy this version. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to dive into the book. Now there were 10 stories.
Yeah. Well, there's
Yeah, ten
9, and then
stories.
there's an extra one that's only in the Barnes
Yeah.
and Noble edition, which Jimmy had
Yes.
sent me by PDF because we didn't have that over here. So
Yes, because
thank
Jimmy
you for
is awesome. I mean, if anyone's
that.
listening that could get us in trouble, he didn't. But
Well,
but
I think it's
thank you
kind of
so
weird
much, Jimmy.
that they. I understand having like the special releases, but can you get Barnes and Noble books in Canada or in the
No,
UK?
not in the UK.
No, I can't get them in Canada, but I can order them from the States. But then I have to pay all this extra shipping and goo.
Mm,
I
all
I
right. Well, then I don't
I
feel so
ordered
bad.
the Barnes and Noble version of Battle Scars, and then I had it on order, and then they had over sold what stock they had, so I didn't even end up getting mine, but I got like a full refund, and then I
Mm,
got the regular book um,
yeah.
sent to me for free. So I
All
wanted
right.
the
Well,
one with the
so there were.
poster.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I have that one, but all right. So we're going to dive into these. Like we said, we're not going to talk about every single story. Maybe on a Taylor Talk or something. Sometime we can dive into all
Yeah.
these or a book club or something. But we're just going to kind of talk. We're going to give our top 3. So we're going to start with Johnny. And out of these 10, what did you think, Johnny? Which 3 stories and authors that caught your eye?
Yeah, I'll go third to first in mine, if that's all right.
Yep,
third,
absolutely.
I said Shield of the Jedi by George Mann,
All right.
which is one of the ones that's set around Phase 2.
Yes.
The characters of mainly the character of Padawan Rupa and her master Solandra Sho, who are both mainly from the middle grade young reader books.
Yeah. Solandra's also in the Battle for Jedi audio drama as well. She's great in that.
Yeah, and that one, it's a couple of years after the end of Phase 2, and you see Solandra Sho kind of sets Rupa her Jedi trials. And so she has to go on this mission, figure out what it is that she's supposed to do. I thought it felt just like the same tone as like the young reader books, where we'd met those 2 characters originally. And it's not something we get to see very often at Padawan's Jedi trials.
That was very
quite
cool.
often the ones we've seen have been ones where they've been said, like, you've been through this big battle kind of thing, so we're going to make you a Jedi now. So we don't actually get to see just a master setting their Padawan a trial and that.
Well, in the comic book too. Yeah, in the comic book they're doing that. That first Starlight Beacon, they're like fast forwarding everyone's training and things like. Just does not seem like a real smart thing to do. But anyways, we'll get into that some other time. So
that was my third one. My second favorite was The Force Provides by Justina Ireland. That one I thought was kind of like the most personal story. It's about Venestra Rowe, who obviously, again, Justina Ireland had written about in a couple of different books in Phase 1. Where she's it's obviously just after the fall of Starlight Beacon, as she disagrees with the Jedi Recall Order, which is kind of a theme throughout this book, actually, and into some of the comics that have been coming out as well. Various of the Jedi that we've been following don't agree with the Recall Order, or that the fact that the Jedi she not only disagrees with the recall, but she disagrees with the fact that the Jedi are still fighting the Nihil. She thinks it should be left to the Republic now, kind of thing, that they shouldn't be involved in a war, so to speak.
Warriors.
So she kind of becomes an unofficial way seeker Jedi, where she just goes where the Force takes her, kind of thing. And she goes on an adventure.
Yeah, she does.
But I thought it's all from her point of view. I thought it felt like a really personal kind of story. And we're just reminded of the fact that she's still kind of thinking about and working on the riddle that Mari Santeca left her.
Yeah.
I can't remember what book that was in.
Yeah, that all kind of blurs together.
And then my favourite one was All Jedi Walk Their Own Path by Charles Soule. First of all, we find out that Burryaga lives.
He lives!
But that's not even the main reason why I liked it, because it's mainly about Bell and Loden Greatstorm. And we get more of their relationship through flashbacks to earlier to before Phase 1 altogether, and kind of Bell's decision to whether to obey the recall order or carry on looking for Burryaga is informed by those flashbacks. And that's just a great one. And there's a quote I've got written down here that I love from it. It's that Loden says to him in one of those flashbacks, it's all Jedi walk their own path. The way we help people, the way we interpret the Force and serve the goals of the light. When all is said and done, council or no, we must guide ourselves. So, I think that's
good. Loden is so smart.
Yeah, it's such a... he's kind of like... Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get more of him before everything happens. So,
I know. It's like that last... like, I won't get into it because I don't know who's read it or not, but like, Loden goes through a lot, and it makes me feel like, oh my god,
Yeah,
like it's so brutal. Like, oh,
yeah, it
like,
is.
and then like literally a week later, after reading that part in that book, whichever one that is, they're all blurring together because I'm reading them so fast. I'm watching Young Jedi Adventures, the new episodes with my daughter, and I'm like, there's
Yeah.
Loden. I'm just like almost getting teary, and my daughter's like, what? I'm like, I won't get into it. It's like, oh my god.
Oh man, yeah, it
But
is. It's tough. They've really made us care about these characters, which is kudos to the
yeah.
writers. So, all right, Taylor, and we'll come back to your number ones after this. But Taylor, give us your rundown of your top three. Do you have any of the same ones as Johnny?
I do have some of the same ones as Johnny. My number three, let's see here really quickly, was the Affy and the Vessel story. Which one was that? What was that one called again? Goodness.
After the fall.
After the fall, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that was my first experience of like after the fall of Starlight
Oh,
Beacon,
that's
like
right.
the
Yeah.
seriousness of how much it was. Because I have not read Fallen Star. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But just hearing Affy, I guess she's like describing as she's seeing these horrible events that are happening, and these people are missing their families, and they're giving food to like the survivors, and it's like one day after, and then you read a little bit, and then it's like 1 week after, 1 month after, and we're leaving. And you can still like read Leox Jossie's like voice in like the writing, like, come on, little bit, we can't do nothing here. And it's just like, oh my god, I miss these guys. And we hear that Geode is an incorrigible flirt, but
Yeah,
but
yes.
never acts on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but that rock, like, I don't know if
Yeah.
I love him or if I'm just like, what the heck? Because it's like, even Geode
It is
couldn't say
very.
anything to her at that moment. And it's like,
Just give in to it, Taylor.
the guy doesn't have a mouth. What are you talking about? He never says anything. But
That was my one complaint about this story, was there wasn't enough Geode.
but he was totally
Yes.
in it. And like, oh my gosh, I
Oh,
just
he
loved
was
it.
in it, but just not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Definitely
liked that. Yeah, I liked that story, and like Affy's trying to change the history of where she comes from, and she's trying to make things better. And I guess they end up.
Yeah.
I think they are going to be in phase 3 because it's involving the Nihil, where they end up going.
Yeah.
So I liked that one. Number 2, my favorite one was The Call of Coruscant. Sorry, I'm looking down
Oh
at my
yeah, that was a
notes.
good one. No, you're
So
good.
I loved that one. I usually don't like reading about new characters and stuff. I like sticking to my old characters. But this one, what was it? Amadeo is the
Amadeo.
Jedi Padawan's name. Yeah, Amadeo, just
Yes.
cool name. Cool name, right? So they are in the middle of their own skirmishes, doing their own things across the galaxy in the Outer Rim area. They've never been to Starlight Beacon. This is like, it's like a point of view of the Jedi who are out doing their own thing. Like, they're not involved in Starlight or the Drengir or really any of this stuff, right? So they've never
Yeah.
fought. They've never fought the Nihil either. They're literally off in their own thing, and they hear of this news of what happened to Starlight Beacon, and so many Jedi died. So they're getting this call and all of this news like out of the blue. So it's a very cool side of the story, and they're being told what to do now, and this is where they're going to go. But because I guess, yes, it is the recall of all the Jedi, and when they're there, the Padawan ventures off into Coruscant and finds himself some friends and a lady friend, and and they go and have some drinks. Yes,
The
Johnny's
Elzar
laughing
Man
because he's
School of
remembering.
Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
it's kind
Ferris
of fun.
Bueller's Day Off in space, isn't it,
Yes,
basically?
it really
Actually,
is.
yes, he's like, oh, this is my lightsaber. Everyone look at it at the party, and blah blah. And meets this girl, and they have some alone time. And in the
There
end,
were
he
some.
decides. Yes, in the end, he decides to stay a Jedi. So he got to experience a little bit of not being a Jedi and being a, out there 17-year-old,
Being a teenager and yeah.
being a teenager in the big city. And he came back.
That has to be tough though. You think about like here in the States we have the Amish, and they go on the thing with their Rumspringa, and they get that year to see what the real world's about. Kind of it has to be kind of a similar. I mean, he had it in one night, but you're dedicating your life to the Force, and
jeez.
so
Well,
who knows?
but it's also the story also shows what a different time it is for the Jedi. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
time repeats itself, stories repeat themselves, but like these Jedi are questioning their beliefs and their religions and like their Jedi, really their cult, because so much weird stuff has been happening through his Padawan ship, like the emergencies, the fall of Starlight, the Nihil are popping up, and now there's the giant creatures that have effects on force wielders that are out there, and it's like, what is going on? Like, the world is so messed up. Do I even want to be a Jedi? Like, it's just making them
Yeah, it's a
think
valid
differently
question.
because things are so weird. So I really liked this random weird point of view of Starlight falling from Jedi that didn't have involvement with it at all.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked his, like, get out there and get some stuff done for the night. And my favorite is the Force Provides. And Johnny just went over it, but it shows Vernestra breaking into this person that I think we're going to see in the Acolyte. So
Have you seen the
she's
artwork of her? The artwork
yes.
they have it looks really cool.
Oh my god, she's like hardened off. Like right now she's polite. Well, sorry, when I say right now, I mean before the fall of Starlight. She's polite, she's super kind, she's like trying to help everyone. She's pushing people to, you know, she's pushing the other Padawans to be like, no, don't be jealous of me because I was a Padawan or because I became a knight before you. Here, this is how I learned. Like, you can do it. And they're just like, what? So she's totally a new person. She's learning differently. I'm not sure how her like apprenticeship with Stellan went because
Yeah.
he's always
Yeah.
he's right in the light's eye always. So I'm not sure how their training went. Maybe he approved her or maybe he passed her a bit too early. I don't know. But this book shows how hardened she is and how like the effects of Starlight and all these terrible things that have happened and the Nihil fights, and they're not even winning the Nihil fights, and they're getting there too late, and they're not even doing that well. And she's like, I'm done. Like, this is dumb. We shouldn't be doing this anymore. And this is where she changes. So, and we're going to probably see Vernestra in the Acolyte shows, and she looks totally different than she does in the books. So I think this is a bit of a kickoff of what her change. Like maybe Vernestra is the Ahsoka of the High Republic era. Like,
That's a
I don't
good
know.
shout. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You guys have covered a lot. I have a tie for. I think the only one we haven't talked about as a tie. I have the Call of Coruscant. That's Lydia King's, and
Yeah.
that one because Lydia. Asked Lydia like, oh, I just called her up. I said, tweet or I think it was on Instagram or Threads. I said, where do you come up with these names for Amadeo Azazo or something like that? And then
Azazo.
yeah, and so she's like responded back. Sometimes I just smash some letters together and see what happens. And then
They're good. I
the
like
closed
them.
fist, yeah, and the closed fist has no claws about
Oh
Marta Rowe.
yeah.
I'm still kind of curious. So, like, I want to know the lifespan of, oh my gosh, Evereni, right? So,
Everany.
what their
Yeah.
lifespan is like, because this is 150 years before everything kicks off. So these people, these creatures, they must live quite a long life.
I feel like they have like
If she's talking to what we assume is Marcion or Marchion, depending on how you want to pronounce it, or if it's like if someone in between, like it's like his parent that she's talking to, right? I don't know. Anyways, those two kind of tied for third. I like them both. It was neat to get a little bit of lore for the Evereni, like
yeah.
just
We
a
learned
little bit
about
more
that
backstory
species.
on them. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then with the Call of Coruscant, I was kind of curious though. Like I don't want to get what is happening on my screen.
Your hands
Wow.
were in
I
the
don't
air.
understand.
Your hands were in the air. You weren't even touching anything. The call of Coruscant is what
And
you said, and you're just
so
like,
yeah, so the
woohoo!
call of Coruscant, and then my concern about this one is, are they going to bring these new characters into the story, get us to fall in love with them, and then just have them get mowed down?
Axed.
Yeah, just get. I mean, because Phase 2 was brutal. The end of Phase 1 was brutal. My second one, Shield of the Jedi. I love that story. I love the fact that I think in one of the books prior, Cylindra, she told how she got the shield, and then how it kind of
Yeah.
got passed down to her, and then that was kind of cool. And like Johnny said, we don't get to see very often that a Padawan go through their trials, so that was exciting to see, and it was neat how it went
Yeah.
down. So I don't want to ruin that for
Where
anybody,
is
but
that shield, by the
what do you
way?
mean?
Like everyone
Rupert's got
passes.
it now, right?
Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
Phase 2.
Maybe,
So 150 years
Oh, yeah, where
later,
is it now?
it's
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
be.
fair point. Yeah.
She must
Yeah,
have
maybe
passed
it
it
will
yeah,
come
down to
back.
someone.
be kind of
How
cool if
cool
it
would
does
that
come
be
back.
if we
Like
found?
they just introduce a
Yeah.
Jedi that has it. That'd be pretty sweet. Like
That'd be
just
so cool,
someone
and
busts
not
it
even
out.
mention.
Yeah,
Yeah, and not even mention anything about it. But we
and
know,
then
and we're
talk
just
Just
about,
like,
go, oh, look, that Jedi over there's got a shield. Oh, how weird.
oh yeah,
yeah,
Master Natani's or whatever, Master Natani's Padawan, or I was, something like that.
oh
That'd be
yeah,
very cool.
that'd be
And then of
so
course my
cool.
number one, my favorite character. I mean, one of my favorite characters from the first one, The Force Provides. Justina Ireland did a knockout job. Vernestra, you know, knowing where she's going to end up. We've seen the photos of the acolyte and where she's at now. We get to see her as a young kid. That story, I think, Taylor, you kind of hit it on the head with it being like the Ahsoka, because we're spending a lot of time with her. I mean, she's like
Yeah.
13, 14 years old when we first meet her. She's getting older. And then when we see her in the acolyte, she's going to be an adult, bittered and angry and whatever. So it's kind of a cool to get to see that much of a character. We don't often get to see that. It does take a little bit of the stakes out of things for me, though. Like,
We know
you
she
don't
does.
have to worry about
Yeah.
Vern. That Vern's not going to kick it. But that's one Jedi that's safe, I guess. So that might
Yeah.
be okay
But
for my heart. So,
that's
but
one
yeah,
of
I thought,
30.
yeah, one of 30. So, but yeah, I thought those were really great. I enjoyed all of them. So we will talk. Let's real quick before we wrap things up. I've got one question. Well, we'll talk about the one last story. So we did talk about if you're in the States, you had access to one story that no one else seemed to have, and that was what Rogue Element by, was it Alyssa Wong? Is that her
Yes.
name?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of that story? I just kind of for people who are listening who aren't from the States and didn't have an opportunity to read it, what do you guys think?
You can
I
go,
really
Jimmy.
liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. It was didn't quite make my top three, but obviously it's about Crash Ongwa, who was originally written by DJ Older in Midnight Horizon, but her character was based on Alyssa Wong. So now Alyssa
Okay.
Wong gets to write the character that was based on her,
Based
which is
on
kind of
her.
cool.
Oh, very cool.
Um,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that is
very cool. I didn't know
cool.
that. Very neat.
Yeah.
um,
Cool.
yeah, it was an interesting one. Obviously, they said Corellia is at civil war because some people kind of what had already happened with the Nihil, which is in Midnight Horizon, which I guess you haven't read yet, Taylor.
No.
They're kind of like, they're scared of the Nihil, so they're like, right, we should just go along with what they say because we don't want it to get worse, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then there's
Look what they
people
did to
like
Starlight and
Crash
Jedi.
who are like resisting and stuff and fighting back. They find a Padawan called Rue,
Mm-hmm.
whose master was killed by the Nihil, and he's kind of not gone dark side, but he's kind of taking his revenge on the Nihil, so he's kind of treading that line, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of action packed and fun, basically.
Yeah.
It is action, action, action.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
So
like the book kind of like hints at you. So like at the beginning, you're listening to Crash and Sino, and they're going over this like hollow footage of something with the Nihil, and this blue lightsaber comes out of somewhere, and he's got white hair, and then you're skipping forward to this other part of the story where there's this shy and timid kid who's working at a candy shop, pretty much, who has like translucent skin, and he's like thinking about stuff, but they're never like, he has a blue lightsaber, he has white hair. So you're learning this character from two different points of view. And he believes that because the Jedi had the call back to Coruscant after what happened to Starlight, everybody at the Corellian Temple went to Coruscant. But him and his master, Conther? Conither?
Yeah, that was a tough one to.
Conither?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they believed that they had made a promise to stay and protect the people of Corellia. So when everybody else left, they stayed. And Rue seems to think that if all the Jedi hadn't abandoned us and the people of Corellia, then my master would still be alive and be here. So he is very much walking away from the Jedi path.
Yeah.
And then in the end, he's pretty much told that he doesn't have to be a Jedi to be part of protecting people. So, and he grew up and he lived on Corellia. So this is his home too. He wasn't originally sent there. So
now, Taylor, you haven't read Midnight Horizons yet.
Not yet. It's on the shelf behind me.
I don't remember. Johnny, do you remember these characters from that? I don't remember them being part of that.
I remember Crash.
That's a pretty
I
Crash and
remember
Svino.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
There's
like
other members
the
of
popular
the crew that I'm sure
yeah.
were probably ones that were mentioned in this story.
Yeah.
But they were
because the end of that gets pretty explosive, and some things from, but I don't remember them exactly. But there is also another Jedi possibly on that planet. No longer a Jedi, I guess I should say. That kind of just quit. And I wonder if he's still there. Do we see this more?
I'm sure
Taylor, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I hope so, because top 5 right there. It'll be interesting if he shows back up. But
oh my God,
Taylor, when you get to that part, you can. I'm not telling.
Is it Eldar?
But yeah, I was just kind of curious because I recognized Crash, and I like that. Like everyday life people standing up. I thought that was kind of cool.
Everyday famous people, you mean?
Well, they run that security system. They run that security team, and if they're standing up for things. And that was kind of the story. Throughout a few places, there was the Light in the Darkness, where Keeve Trennis shows up to help out, and people standing up to the huts and things like that. So, not just a Jedi standing up, but then Affy, Leox, and Geode standing up, and just some different stories of different people standing up to the darkness, which I thought was cool. And hopefully, we're going to get that all kind of come together at the end. But I like that story. I'm not, I still think I hate to talk bad about it, but I still think it's kind of unfair not to let you guys have that story the way they did. I remember was it Michael Siglin, the guy who's in charge, getting kind of booed when we were at Celebration? They're like, boo, they kind of like, people were kind of like not real thrilled. They weren't real thrilled about it when he mentioned that, especially because we're in the UK, and he announces that if you buy this American book, you can have, so that was probably the wrong place to announce that you need to be an American to get this one story. But anyways, so again, my last question for you guys with this whole thing what's your excitement level for The Eye of Darkness by George Mann coming out on Tuesday? This will be the official kickstart, and the reviews for this book have been pretty promising. So
have they been?
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for Phase 3 in general. Getting back to all those characters from Phase 1, that we've just been reading about in this book, and just seeing where everything goes, and how Phase 2 plays into that. I'm just looking forward to it.
Taylor, will you start reading it when it comes out, or are you going to wait and try to catch up and then?
No, okay, so I have it on order. It's supposed to get here on the 14th. That's when that's when it releases, right? So I really just want to read it in time. Yeah, I really want to read it in time, because that's one of the fun things about this High Republic when I started reading Phase 2 was that everybody was reading these books at the same time. And it was so fun to be able to talk to people like, oh my god, are you at chapter this yet? Like, this is happening. And it was fun to stay in time with the releases. And it was almost like waiting for another show to come out. And it's just that next step of the story. And I feel like I don't want to miss that. So I'm like, oh my god, I've got like 2 books left to read of phase 1. And I read everything from phase 2. But yeah, I've got like 3 books and 2 comics supposed to be arriving in my house like this week.
Nice.
So now that
nice.
I'm reading like crazy the end of phase 1, and now I'm going to jump right into reading phase 3 like insane as well. So it's going to be like never ending, but it's so good. I'm so excited. I'm really excited.
Well, the good thing is you'll be caught up pretty soon because they are spreading the waves out more in phase 3
Thank
than
goodness.
they did before.
Oh my gosh!
Before, like all 3 books of a wave would come out within the space of a month.
Oh,
and now it's more like
it was
over the space of like 3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah,
because we get this book,
yeah,
and then
so
like
even
January
if you're not,
or February,
bang on ready to read Eye of Darkness now, you'll be caught up probably by the time the second book of this wave comes out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm getting into the the meat of phase 1 now. So steak and potatoes.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I can't wait to sit down. I won't, again, my swim season starts, so we'll practice in the mornings. We'll practice after school.
Right.
Not sure how much reading I'll get done this week. This weekend, the following weekend, I'll probably dive into that and just be like, leave me alone for an hour so I can dive into the story. But I can't wait. It always makes me a little bit, I don't know about how you guys are, but when I know I'm getting close to the end of something, like a TV show or a book series, I've always it seems like my reading slows down a little bit. The more I enjoy it, the slower I want to go because I'm savoring it. I don't want it to end, and there hasn't been any spoilers or anything coming out about, this is it. When this is over, it's over. But yeah, I'm very excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to revisit them and get that encyclopedia.
Yes.
We need that. Do you have that, Johnny? Oh, Johnny has it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that doesn't come out
if
for
this
a few
comes
weeks
out where you live, like it did me, earlier than the 9th of December, do not read the timeline near the beginning because it spoiled events in Eye of Darkness for me. I saw 1 or 2 just out the corner of my eye.
That's why I thought that it was. I thought they pushed it for that reason because they didn't want it to.
Oh no!
Because I wanted to introduce new Jedi or new bad guys or whoever, and then it was gonna that came out, and you should know everybody by then. So, bummer. Well, I will wait until I finish Eye of Darkness at least.
We will wait until
it's the timeline. I don't because of that. I haven't really gone into reading about the individual characters and the encyclopedia part of it itself. So
maybe I'll just skip the timeline and dive into the characters.
But
all right, well,
but it looks great.
Yes, it does. I'm excited. So.
Oh wow!
There's cool artwork and stuff in there, and
I can't wait to.
Depending on the importance of the characters, they kind of seem to vary between like a quarter of a page and a double, a full page spread kind of thing for the characters.
Like Stellan obviously gets a double page.
Yeah. Hold on, this is a good one.
Oh man,
I share a birthday with the actress.
Dexter Jester. All right. Very cool. So, all right. Well, Johnny, we want to thank you. You let everybody again for coming on, talking High Republic with us. I'm sure we will talk once Phase 3 gets rolling. We'll have you back on to dive into it. Tell people, if you're busy and you want to get caught up, Johnny has excellent reviews of all the books. He kind of breaks them down for you. Johnny, tell people where they can find you on the social medias and they can get caught up quickly and maybe even by Tuesday so they can be ready to
go. Well, you can find me at Starbirdfiles on Instagram and also Facebook. And then from there, there's links to I've got a blog as well where there's kind of like longer reviews of the books and things like that. Starbirdfiles on Instagram basically is the best place to find me, I think.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for coming on.
No
and
worries.
we always finish with a quote. Taylor, you want to get us started?
As always, from me, for light and life.
Johnny?
We are all the Republic.
All right. right. Had to let Taylor go because last time Johnny was on, he
I know,
stole
I stole
Taylor's.
it.
He stole my line.
It wasn't
And for
intentional,
all
I
of us, for all of us, we have spoken. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.